Hey, 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 everybody. How y'all doing? Today, I want to talk about and really break down some things and shed some insight into loneliness. Okay, because this is something that I'm seeing a lot of. A lot of people are suffering from loneliness, and I'm realizing that there are a lot of misconceptions about loneliness. People really aren't understanding what's going on when they are lonely. Okay, so I'm going to break that down. Loneliness, first of all, because there's three main parts of this that I want to talk about tonight. And the first component is that you are only lonely when you're not connected to yourself. Okay, so loneliness is a signal that, hey, you're lonely because you're not here. What does that mean? It means that you're away from yourself. Okay, so your focus is not on how you feel, your own needs. You're not soothing yourself. You're not comforting yourself. The relationships that you seek to have with other people, you're not having with yourself. If you had a friend, right, you would want to call that friend, or you may check up on that person. You would carry on a relationship with them, right? Well, you're not doing that with yourself. You're not checking in with yourself. You're not saying, "Hey, what's up with you? How you doing? How you doing, girl?" You're not having a relationship with yourself. You have abandoned that relationship. That is a core component of loneliness, because what you're doing is you're refusing to invest in the relationship with yourself, and then you're looking for other people to compensate for that. That's what the longing for someone else or for other people in relationships and connections, because you're lonely, is because you're basically saying, I'm not here with me, but I don't want to be here with me. I'm not good enough. A relationship with me is not good enough. I want a relationship with somebody else. You see? Okay. And you have to think about what that energy is going to be like in the universe. Because remember, we can only attract to ourselves what we are. So you can only attract relationships that are not very attuned into you, that are not very attentive to you, not very kind to you, because that's what you already got going on. That's the relationship you're already in. Okay, so that's the number one thing to know, that when you're lonely, it means that you're not there. You're not carrying on a relationship with yourself in the way that you need to be. You're missing yourself. So you think that you're missing other people. You're missing yourself first and foremost. And the next component that I want to talk about when it comes to loneliness and why you're lonely is the fact that you are emotionally unavailable. Okay, so the loneliest people are the most emotionally unavailable. And most people think that because a lot of times lonely people are very desperate, needy, and eager for relationships, that means they're emotionally available. And that is not the case. Okay, lonely people are the most emotionally unavailable. They're needy, but they're not emotionally available. They're not able to show up with the truth of themselves and their emotions, where they're really at. How many times have you met a lonely person that's showing up like, hey, you know what, man, I'm really going through loneliness, and I'm like extremely desperate and needy. And like, I'm just practically hungry and thirsty for some type of connection and relationship. Most times they're not saying that. They're showing up as if, like they're just ready for a relationship and all of that. It's not the truth. Okay, they're not available for their vulnerabilities and the truth of who they are and where they are, and coming from this deep connection with themselves. They're emotionally unavailable. This is why lonely people tend to be very attracted to relationships that are one-sided, where somebody else is not going to show up for them. Why? Because they don't have to really show up for a relationship with somebody who's not responding. Okay, so this is why they're very drawn to relationships with people that are not interested in them. relationships where the other person is not going to show up, because then it does not require them to have to fully show up emotionally. See, a relationship, carrying on a relationship in your head and in fantasy is completely different than something that's real. Okay. That's completely different from, somebody showing up that's saying, hey, I'm here to do this with you. And now you have to really show up. You have to really be a part of this relationship in a real way. Well, that's not required with people who don't want that with you. Okay, so you get to have this relationship all in your mind, all in fantasy, and you never actually have to do the hard part of actually being in that relationship and showing up with your vulnerabilities in a real way. So loneliness is another sign of emotional unavailability, which people think that it's the other people that are emotionally unavailable. Well, you're not attracting emotionally unavailable people or attracted to emotionally unavailable people if you yourself are not emotionally unavailable. Okay, so loneliness is a number one sign that you are emotionally unavailable. And now we're going to get to why you're emotionally unavailable. Lonely people are emotionally unavailable because on a deeper level, they don't really trust people or they don't trust themselves. Okay. You will find that a lot of lonely people, they have some type of hang up and some way that they do not trust people. They don't really trust people to, show up for them in a real way. Okay, so this is why they're not available for that. They're only available for one-sided things, for complete avoidance altogether, or something that's not going to require them to show up because that's not as scary. Okay? You don't really have to trust somebody that you're chasing in a one-sided situation that's not really showing up, because you're not deeply on the inside. You're not fully engaged in that in the way that you would be if this person was here with you, because there's only so much you can do in your head. There's only so much you can do one-sided when the other person could care less. Okay. The real mirror is when somebody is showing up for you, and then you see how scary it feels to really be in this place with someone that's showing up for you. And it's like, oh my goodness, now if I go into this, they could walk away after they've shown up. Oh my God. This is where it's going to push up all of the deep issues that you have. But with these surface level types of connections that the other person isn't really showing up in a real way for, and there's some type of distance, it's a lot safer. It doesn't require the same level of trust. Okay. So that's a little bit more insight into loneliness. This is also something that I help people deal with in coaching. Okay. To deal with those deeper layers of loneliness, your emotional unavailability, your attraction to emotionally unavailable people, you not trusting people, as well as the lack of connection with yourself. Because when you have that deep connection with yourself, you can't really feel lonely. You just can't feel lonely. Okay? So that's that, guys. I hope that you found it beneficial, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.